I've been doing this 17 years. For the first time, there's a fairly clear consensus around the standards, the conditions that would be ripest for effective tutoring programs. Pratik outlined 5 or 6. We all have an agreed on evidence basis for saying those are the standards. Now, that wasn't in place when the SES program was in effect in the mid-2000s. So there's that. That's different. The other piece of evidence I have is University of Chicago did a study, not widely reported, several years ago, that took a look at us and said, look, is it possible they could be 3 or 4 times bigger right now based on the pool of tutors who'd applied versus the pool of tutors we hired? They did a simulation, all sorts of things, and the answer was resoundingly yes. We could have been 3.5 times bigger years ago than we are now, because it's a fairly flat line between the tutor we think is going to be the best tutor versus the tutor we don't think is going to be as good, and all the other hundreds that we rejected. It's a fairly flat line between what we predict to be the best and what we predict to not be the best, because the expectation of tutoring is actually hard to read when you on day 1 of tutoring. So through an interesting study University of Chicago could talk about, they thought we could be much bigger then, and that again was when the price was 2 or 3 times what it is now, and we were 1/4 of what we are now. So I think there's growing belief that there'll be a spectrum of tutoring across the country, from individual one-off for-profit companies, maybe on demand, occasional homework help or in the day or after school, to more dosage to sort of a saga as the end of the road, which is the highest dosage and at least as of now highest fidelity and evidence of fidelity. There'll be a spectrum of that. I think if we've lifted the field in terms of pre-service training, and we hold to these standards as best we can, and someone needs to hold the field accountable for these standards about dosage that doesn't get whittled away, about the ratio of tutor to students that it doesn't get watered down, that the curriculum is high quality and not just taken from a workbook, that it's tutor friendly. We follow those standards and follow some of those conditions. I think the chance that this will be successful is higher. And again, people could reach me. We're going to play a role in offering to the country, state level or districts, these webinars on the 7 conditions I think districts need to think about: 4 essential and 3 secondary. Then we're going to drill down and offer technical assistance for free, again, to any district that we can work with closely that has having a big ambitions to do tutoring well. We want to support any district or provider that has a big footprint with kids, because that's the mission of our nonprofit, is to try to get better education for kids. So we'll do whatever it takes to assist Colorado, Louisiana, or the others who are standing up big tutoring programs.